Today, on Be Something Wonderful, who do you think you are? Your answer creates your reality. I am your host, Tom Karen, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. I heard from one of you who said, Tom, I watched your last video and I really enjoyed it. But here's my question. If I am consciousness and I am that infinite being, how do I know? Because I feel like I'm my body. I feel like I'm the 3D me. And if I'm not my body, if I'm not my 3D me, who am I? And how does the law of assumption, Neville Goddard's law of assumption and law of attraction, how do they all fit in? And how do they even work together? I'm just wondering if you could, I'm a little bit overwhelmed with it. I was wondering if you could unpack that. Well, guys, we're going to unpack this today and more. So here's what I want to say, is that you have a body, but you're not your body. Your body is a manifestation of who you really are, right? And the reason you can't see your consciousness is because you are consciousness. You can't see who you are. That would imply separation, and you're not separated from infinity. That's why you can't see it. Do you hear this? You have the observed and you have the observer. And if you can observe something, that implies separation. That implies that's not who you really are. Like your body and everything else in 3D. It's not who you really are if you can observe it. Let's unpack this like we've never unpacked it before, and we're going to hit the law of attraction, law of assumption, how reality creation fits within all of this today. So remember, think of it this way, that you've split off from that I am, from that God, that first cause as I am consciousness, right? And then there was another split off with I am a soul, or I am this. And then it was I am this or I am that, the body. So you sort of split off, right? And remember, the body in this 3D you is contained is contained in all of infinity. That infinity is not contained in your body. Your body is contained in infinity, or the 3D you is within infinity. Do you see this? You have the body, you have the mind, or the world of thoughts. Or if you want to call it, some call it the fourth dimension. And then you've got that fifth dimension, or that God, or that spirit, right? Pure consciousness, right? And so you get spirit, mind, and body, or soul, thought, and stuff, right? And remember, the body's the slowest vibration. It's the most dense, right? And the highest is spirit and soul. That's the fastest vibration. That's the most subtle of energies, right? Think of it like ice, water, and steam. Ice is the most dense. That's the 3D you. That's the stuff, the 3D stuff, right? Then you've got water, right? That's less dense. And then you have steam. That's the fastest and the highest vibration. Yet, it's all made of the same energy. It's all made of spirit. It's all made of the same stuff. That's who you really are. So let's start there. When you know who you really are, then we can show you how you really create reality, right? Let's unpack this a little bit more. So how do I know that I am consciousness and not my body? Well, there's no separation. So the reason you struggle to know that you are consciousness is who you are, or who you really are, is because you are that. You can't see that. It's like your eye, when you look through your eye can't see your eye because it is your eye, right? The observer and the observed, that's how you know what you're not. If it changes, and if you can observe it, it's not who you really are, because who you really are is unchangeable. It's eternal. It's forevermore, right? And it can't be observed. Right? So remember, observer and observed implies separation. And if it is separate from you, it's not who you really are. Isn't that good? It really makes it simple to know who you really are. You're not, if it changes, if it's something that changes in the 3D world, if it's the world of change and pain, then it's not who you really are, right? If you can feel joy and then lose that joy, that's not who you really are. Right? Your pure love, your pure joy that never changes, right? Because you can observe your body and your mind, your thoughts, right? You can observe your mind or your thoughts, and you can observe your body, means that you're not your body or your mind. You're not your body or your thoughts. That's how you know. So the next time you have a thought that's negative and that brings you down, now you know it's not you. It's not who you really are, because for the mere fact that you can observe it and know that you're observing it. Wow, that's big, right? It's like the I is consciousness. It can't look at itself. The I of consciousness cannot look at itself. Let's take this up a notch here and go a little deeper. Remember, you are looking as reality, not at reality, right? So you're looking at it, but you're looking at it as reality. So you can't make that distinction. You can never see it, right? You can never see the unseen behind it, because you are that unseen. Do you hear this? You are that unseen consciousness. That's why you can never see it. You can feel it. There's implications that it's there, right? That's why you can never find what you're looking for out there. It's all within you. That's why sometimes when you say, hey, my desire hasn't manifested, it's been years, and I'm just looking for why it hasn't, you can't find that answer. It's within you. So even asking it keeps it. I know the tendency, the 3D mind wants to analyze it, wants to find out what's wrong. But that's what keeps it away. It's all within you, right? Your identity, your viewpoint, your concept of yourself is reality. Hear this, right? That is what becomes reality. That's how you create reality. From that consciousness, you determine your identity, your viewpoint, your concept of yourself, and that's what creates your world. Wow. That's how that unconditioned consciousness is conditioned. It's conditioned by how you identify yourself, what viewpoint you take, and the concept of yourself. That's reality creation. A change in these means a change in your reality. It's ultimate reality, unconditioned consciousness, ultimately. That's who you really are underneath it. But you condition it. And what's the first condition? Your identity, your viewpoint, your concept of yourself, right? You always see in the 3D world as you are. You are always seeing in the 3D world as you are. Whatever you see in the 3D world, you're seeing it as you are, not as the world is. The world is nothing without you. Here it is. Right? You're seeing the world as you are, not as it is. Right? So let's unpack this a little bit more. Let's go another layer. To keep looking at the world from the same viewpoint and the same identity, right? You're wondering why hasn't my life changed? Why haven't I manifested my desires? Because that's why. You keep looking from the same viewpoint, from the same identity, and it results in seeing the same old reality. Right? New places, new faces, but the same old you. I think Abraham Hicks, or another spiritual teacher, used to say that, right? You keep creating reality, but it's the same old reality. New places, new faces, but the same old you and the same old reality. Why? Because you're looking at it from the same identity and the same viewpoint, right? Know this, that nothing is as it seems. That's the spark to seeing more and more of that 99.9999% of the unseen. Knowing that nothing is as it seems. Knowing that it's all a big magic trick. That it's all a big house of mirrors, and that you are the house and you are the mirrors, right? That every single moment, every single event, every single activity has an infinite number of potential versions and outcomes. Think of this. The next time you get a dinner reservation, you're headed to dinner. Know that event has an infinite number of outcomes. And that outcome's being determined by how you're identifying yourself, the concept of yourself, and your relationship to the world at that moment. Wow. That's possible. That's a big responsibility. So, what's real and what's unreal? This is your question, right? I think you said that as well. Tom, what's real and what's unreal then? Well, that depends on which plane of existence you're viewing reality from. From which plane of existence are you real? The 3D world's real to you on this plane of existence, right? So, but this is big. This is how you really know, in the ultimate sense of reality, as an infinite being, what's real and what's not real. The answer to that question is if it changes. If it can be observed, like your body and thoughts, it is unreal. Like everything in 3D reality. Your body, your 3D you, if it can change, if it can be observed, bodies and thoughts and everything else, it is unreal in the ultimate sense. that there's only ultimate reality. There's only that unconditioned consciousness, right? What's real is unchangeable. It's infinite and it's always. That's consciousness. That's infinity. You are infinite. All the rest is the changeable. Changing is that, and that's the game of life, right? That is the game of life. We enjoy these changes. We enjoy, as we talked about yesterday, we enjoy limiting ourselves in 3D reality to see it, right? You're always at, and here's the thing. One of you asked me, am I the center of my consciousness? You are. You're the center of everything. You're the center of infinity. Why are we all the center of infinity? Because infinity keeps going out from every direction. Right? There's no end and there's no beginning. So you must be at the center always, right? Right? That's how powerful you are, because it extends infinitely in all directions. All directions. You're always at, imagine that power. You're always at the center of infinity. You're always at the center of all there is. It goes out in all directions. You have to be at the center. There's no beginning. There's no end, right? So what I really want to say though, is you are the center of intention. By your intentions, you set forth. How do you set your intentions? You set your intentions by how you identify with that version of yourself. What version of yourself you identify with. What viewpoint of reality you take. And then you send out these intentions. And I told you there's no time but now, and there's no place but here. So as you send these out from the all-powerful now, you send these ripples of events, past, present, and future. These are timelines. Right? And again, I'm giving you the depiction that they're going out from you, but they're not really going out from you, they're within you. And really there's only one. The one you might want to call one movement around you, and that includes all the infinite numbers. Yesterday I showed you a bunch, but those are all in one. If you could see it from any moment in time, it would all look like just one ring around you. Right? It includes all realities. As you intend, the 3D you, as you intend, as you set your intent, send your intentions from that new viewpoint, from that new identity, you send vibratory signals out to all that is within you, and the infinite world changes to correspond to who you are being. That's what it's all about. It's not about you really creating or manifesting anything. It's you vibrating with a reality that already exists, and then start to perceive it and receive it in the 3D world. That's how it works, guys. And it corresponds to who you are being, that vibration. So that's why Abraham Hicks and a lot of other spiritual teachers say that the law of attraction is really the only law. But that's what they mean by like attracts like, or law of correspondence, or law of resonance, because that's what it all is. In the final analysis, you get who you attract who you are. In other words, you perceive and receive the reality of what you are being, or what you are. Let's unpack this a little bit more. So, you cannot perceive, receive, or experience anything, because I've heard you guys ask me, how did I? Yeah, I didn't. I'm not. I can't believe those people are in my life. I didn't attract them. I know who I am, and I know I'm not thinking things the same as them, right? You cannot perceive, receive, or experience anything that doesn't correspond to you, your frequency or your state of being or your vibration. You just can't. The people that you don't want in your life, you'll not even see them if you're not vibrating or resonating with them or corresponding with their reality. Do you hear this? But if you're resisting it, if you're trying to push it away, if you have an aversion to something or someone, then you're attracting it. You're resonating. You're making that reality real by resisting it. Do you hear this, right? You perceive people and events. You invite them, in other words, into your experience, wanted or unwanted, by the way of your vibration and what you're resonating with. Either you're desiring or resisting, right? Desiring without attachment means without wanting and needing to be whole, attracts it. So if it's pure desire, the desire without attachment, the desire without needing it, the desire without wanting it to make you whole, that attracts it. But desiring with doubt, desiring with attachment to outcomes, desiring with it hasn't happened yet, and it hasn't happened for years, and I'm wondering where it is an attachment, and that pushes it away forever. Until you change. And when I say forever, that's just for you determine that. You can change forever in an instant because you're infinite. So it's not forever really, but you are forevermore. So you get to decide. As soon as you change and you go to desiring without attachment, it comes into your reality, right? Resisting anything and aversion attracts it. That's how it works. Let's unpack this a little bit more. So I know we want to look, as the 3D mind wants to look for contradictions. We want to say this contradicts that. And we want to analyze things. And we want it all to fit into a nice, neat package. But remember, it's infinity we're talking about. You cannot fit infinity into that limiting 3D mind of yours. Right? Instead, go the other way, right? Decide that you're God. And instead of trying to, again, you're trying to reason with infinity inductively, where infinity or God thinks deductively. I am God, I am infinity, I am all that is. So this all must be within me. That's how you remember, we talked about that, but you're trying to go at it inductively. Right? By saying, well, if this is true or this isn't true, then this must not be true. And you never get there. You never get there. It's bottomless, right? The key to all of it, hear this, the key to all of it is there's no outside power. There is no outside force. There is no rogue energy. I know some of you want to think that it's happening to you, right? I've heard this, right? That works independently of what you believe. Wow, such a powerful statement. I'm going to hit this again. There's no outside power. There's no outside force. There is no rogue energy that works independently of what you believe, or in other words, of who you are or what you are, of that viewpoint or identity that you're identifying with, right? The laws of attraction, law of vibration, law of correspondence, law of assumption, law of resonance, law of cause and effect, all of those are based on this premise. You only experience what you are. Hear this. Let's pause there, guys, because this is so big. It just ties it, it threads everything together for you. You only experience what you are. Who are you? Who do you think you are? You're infinity. You're eternal. You're all powerful. You're all knowing. If you start thinking like that, then you will only experience what you are. You're going to experience that magic. You're going to experience those synchronicities, those coincidences, those what most call miracles, right? The only people that call those miracles are people who don't believe in them, right? Don't believe that they create their own reality. Who do you think you are? You only experience all of those laws, right? There's specifics between, but it's all about corresponding to who you want to be. All about corresponding to that reality, right? So I want to show you this, that assumptions, thoughts, feelings, emotions, attention, intention, imagination, action, all of that, it funnels right into beliefs, right? And remember, beliefs are thoughts that you thought a lot about, right? All of those, vibration and frequency, all of that, creates the identity or viewpoint or chosen version of yourself. So instead of starting here, right? And start here and identify the viewpoint in your chosen reality. Then you're going to have the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions and the beliefs that correspond to that viewpoint. Remember, deductive, I am God, I am infinity. And then that infinity has certain beliefs about who infinity is. Certain concepts. And those beliefs then generate other thoughts and other feelings and other emotions. Remember, thought is creative, right? And we'll get to this in a second, but it really is all about thought. Because who do you think you are determines your life experience. The answer to that question determines your life experience. It's all on thought, right? Emotions just tell you what you're thinking. Feelings just tell you whether gives you a name to those emotions, right? So it's either you're feeling fear or love, and then within that fear and love, there's certain feelings like anger or joy, right? But either way, that's your emotional guidance system. And then when you start identifying with your higher self, whatever you believe, you start putting your attention on. You have intentions about those beliefs. You start imagining based on those beliefs. You take action in 3D based on those beliefs, and you start vibrating and have a frequency based on your identity and your viewpoint. Wow, that's big. Let's take this a notch higher And a little deeper dive here. If you desire something, if you want something to change, if you want to change something, if you long to improve something, hear this, you have to be the version of yourself that corresponds to that desired reality. It's the only way out is within, always. And that's why they call it the law of attraction, the only law, or the law of correspondence. That's what it all means. You can't do it without correspondence. For example, I know some of you are concerned, I get it, about your SP and that things are getting, I know one of you thinks are getting worse. I hear this, but I just want to give you an example. If you need love, if you have to have him or her or them in your life to feel whole, to feel complete, to not feel panic, to not feel fear, then you're corresponding to the absence or the fear and not having them in your life. Do you hear that? You're not corresponding to the reality where you're together. That alternative reality exists. We've talked about that in previous videos. It's happening right now. That's why you feel such a strong desire. But you can't get there from fear. Fear does not lead to fulfillment. Fulfillment leads to fulfillment. Do you hear this? Feeling whole leads to fulfillment. Right? Knowing that your desire is yours leads to fulfillment. That's what we're talking about. You've got to correspond with fulfillment to get to fulfillment. That's big. It's not so much about attracting, manifesting, and creating as it is about receiving and perceiving your chosen reality. Receiving and perceiving your desire. Right? That's what it's about. It's receiving and perceiving. That's the shortcut, guys, to reality creation. Right? That's the idea of like, who do you think you are? That's the answer to that question, right? So let's take it a notch, one more notch here. So who do you think you are? The answer to that one question determines your life experience and the realities that you perceive. Or in other words, the desires and realities that you receive. Right? You receive it and you perceive it. Right? And so this one question, such a powerful question, and I put it in the form of this mind map here. Who do you think you are? That's your identity. That's your viewpoint of infinity, right? And when you determine that, you're going to have certain beliefs and assumptions about that concept of yourself. When you have that, that generates like thoughts. That generates certain feelings. That generates certain emotions. That has a certain vibration. That you imagine certain things as that person. You put your attention on certain things as that person. You set intentions based on that, and you take actions based on that. Not only 3D actions, but your higher self moves you to actions based on that identity, based on that assumption. That's how it all fits. Do you see it? There's no contradiction in anything in infinity. It's only us making that up, right? That's what most spiritual teachers say, that thoughts are creative. That's why that one shift of who do you think you are creates it all. And it threads everything within manifesting, reality creation, all the laws of the universe, law of attraction. They all get threaded by that one question. That's so powerful. Who do you think you are? Your answer creates your reality. I am your host, Tom Caron, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button on the video as well. Hit the subscription button so you never miss a video, or a notification button so you never miss a video. Share, guys, the channel, the videos with your friends and family on Facebook and social media. That's how we get our message out. You can follow us on Facebook at Be Something Wonderful, on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Caron. You can visit our website at tomcaron.com or BeSomethingWonderful.com, or you can write me anytime at info@BeSomethingWonderful.com. I always love to hear from you. Until next time, with great love and great light, this is Tom. See you soon.